an hour ago I was lecturing, and I'm doing my regular course. I teach a course on the survey of the history of Christianity in the medieval and early modern period. Today, it just so happened that I was lecturing on the Reformation, and it was just wonderful to, Reformation is one of the greatest trauma in the religious history of the European people, and to tie the Reformation to this, which is one of the greatest sort of shocking, is not unique, as other popes have resigned, but it's definitely not common. Last one to resign was 600 years ago. I mean, it's just an exceptional time. And for me to teach students about sort of the impact of these things, they were, when I told them, have you heard the news? One of them said, the Pope quit. I didn't know he could quit, could he? I mean, why? So, exactly what you said. It's an incredible opportunity to let them see the relevance of, religion today. But also, they are curious. Not many people know the Vatican's work, the Vatican staff work. And so to be able to use that opportunity to, let the students see the ins and outs of this institution, which is old and mysterious to an extent, and still works, the way in which it was, the procedure, what happens when a pope resigns, they haven't changed since the first pope resigned. And 600 years ago, they went through exactly the same thing. Well, not quite, because it was a different time, but procedural-wise, not that different from what they're going to be going through now. So it's wonderful for somebody like me who studies the early modern Catholic Church to show that there are many things that have changed, but many things that haven't. It's exciting. I wasn't shocked. And many people that know the Vatican from, I don't want to say the inside, but pretty closely, they knew this was coming. It's been months of rumors that the Pope was going to resign. So there was a sense among, people who know that it was just a matter of months before we heard. And some people were surprised about the timing, but I guess, he could have waited after Easter, and Easter is really sort of a significant, time for Catholics. Probably he did it because he wanted to have a new Pope by Easter. Every time, of course, a new Pope is elected, then a huge impact happens for the rest of the people. This is particularly tough times. The Church, the papacy itself, the Church is facing some big challenges, of course, and the papacy as an institution is facing some problems. There were a lot of controversies, internal controversies between the Pope and the Secretary of State. Much will depend on, the Church has a couple of opportunities they can pursue. There is a couple of ways, that they can go about picking the new Pope. And of course, depending on who they end up picking, the consequences will be momentous for the rest of, for the Catholics, but not just for the Catholics, because, the Catholic Church is a power to reckon with in general. There is always the option of picking a Pope from Africa, and some people say that that's the good time, and that will, of course, change dynamics, between the Western and the rest, the Western world and the rest of the world. But there is also some people who think it's too early for that, and so there is some people who think that the new Pope, will be a transition Pope. So another person coming from the inside of the Curia to prepare the Catholic Church for this new moment that will come, because, sooner or later, the papacy will have to take into account the rest of the world, and Africa in particular, where Catholicism is on the rise. So we are all, anybody who follows these events, we are all very conscious that this is a momentous time, and much is riding on the choice.